alien spacecraft did not crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947.
You know flat earthers, I guarantee it. But you don't know who they are because they're afraid of talking about it.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system.
Hello and welcome to the 26th annual Subliminal Deception Podcast, your weekly dose of conspiracy theory bullshit. My name is Cody, and I'm joined by my pal Phil. How are you?
Doing good, Cody. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It's kind of, I'll be honest, it's real depressing here right now. It's been raining all week long, and I feel like we're in Seattle or something. It's just really a downer, kind of. I wanted to ask you. So, last weekend was the first weekend I got to actually sit down and enjoy college football. And I was like, okay, maybe we can watch some good games. And I was like, oh, Iowa's on, right? And I'm watching it. It's just like, ooh, it's just a total beatdown of Rutgers. Like, it is just embarrassing. Well, how did you feel about the game?
Well, I actually, I had to do my work, my guard weekend. So I did not actually get to watch it. I watched it basically through my phone. You know, like that crappy little thing where it kind of shows you like where the ball's at on the field and like what just happened. Except it was like 15 minutes ago that it happened. So I basically watched the play-by-play, and I just watched the score climb and climb. Rutgers is not good enough to be in the Big Ten. I'm just gonna be honest. Football-wise, they're just not in our league. So it's sad. I mean, it was a beatdown. It's bad.
It's like a lot of the games last week I felt like were just destruction everywhere. And then, of course, you know, our beloved Golden Gophers of Minnesota are like struggling to win a game. But yeah, I thought Rutgers was okay, but I think I got Rutgers confused with Maryland. Because Maryland's really good.
Fucking killing it. They have like in 2 games like 140 some combined points. Like they are eating shit up. Thank God Iowa doesn't have to play with them. I actually heard something funny on the radio. So I live in Mesa. I used to go to Arizona State a few years ago. They were talking about the Sun Devils and how they played a team. I believe it was Sacramento State, and how they almost lost to Sacramento State. And then they brought up that they have to play Michigan State this coming up week. And the guy on the radio was like, did you see that guy playing defense for Sacramento State, number 92? He was killing us. Every play, he was killing us. Michigan State's going to have 5 of those guys. And I just fucking bursted out laughing, like at a stoplight. Oh, it's pretty hilarious what they're saying. But yeah, like there is such a disparity though between like the haves and the have-nots in college football. It really is embarrassing sometimes.
Yeah, I know. It's, that's kind of how college is, though. I guess it's the big schools get fatter and the little ones, hopefully they get a few really good players that can carry them. I was going to ask, too. So I've realized that this show has slowly began to corrupt my mind because I was laughing at work. They're doing free flu shots for the employees. Or no, they label it free flu vaccines, right? And of course, the joke was like, everyone was making it's like, oh, they're trying to give the employees autism now. Obviously, we don't believe that vaccines cause autism, but
they might have mercury in it.
It could. Yeah. It could. Did you see all the, I just saw it before I came on here, about there's like 7 people who have died from vape stuff, like vape-related lung diseases.
Oh, yeah. Fuck them. Honestly, 7 people died from vape diseases. How many hundreds of thousands have died from smoking and nothing's been done about it? So.
No, here's the thing, though. When I read deeper into that, they're dying from those THC cartridges. They're vaping those, and there's like weird shit in them, and that's what's giving it to. It's like not, apparently it's not like the vapes like you or I use. It's like the weed cartridges, because they don't know what they're putting in there. And apparently there's like, it sounded like there's a shitload of vitamin C something or vitamin E something in there. And that might have been what's killing him or giving him a lung disease or something.
Yeah, definitely. Who knows where those fucking any of that stuff comes from? Like, if you don't get it from like the professional, like the vape juice I use, I used to go to this crappy store that would sell like this kind of weird shit, and like I only did that. I maybe bought like 1 or 2 bottles from them, and then I thought about it, like, what the fuck is getting put in here? Like, this bottle barely has a label on it. Like,
yeah,
it's almost like you're buying the fucking, like, what's that? Like the Walmart brand of like vape juice, you know?
Yeah, like the blues. Remember those? And I can't remember what the other one is. Jewel, I think, is the big one now.
Yeah, Juul's the one that all the kids are smoking these days. So
yeah,
when we were in our early 20s and they first came out, Blue was huge. Now Blue is, you can barely find them anymore.
I know. Speaking of kids, my dear old co-host on Bumblebee Podcast, Jordan, he smokes a Juul now, which I guess is better for him because he was smoking like a pack of Newport Reds every day or whatever. So the Juuls will probably be a safer option for him in the long run versus full strength Newports. So anyway, Phil, it's about that time. I have no idea what the subject's going to be this week, but I know it'll probably be something amazing. So why don't you take it away from here?
Well, Cody, we're getting away from aliens a little bit after our awesome 2-parter. So I am jumping back into assassinations. Do you remember ever hearing about Robert Kennedy's assassination?
A little bit. I kind of know. I've heard stories about the guy who killed him. Or are we saying allegedly killed him?
Allegedly killed him comes in here a little bit. So the assassination of Robert Francis Kennedy happened during the very turbulent 1960s, which saw the killing of many other major political and social leaders of the time. Most famously, his older brother, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, in 1963, and Martin Luther King Jr., which preceded Bobby Kennedy's death by just 2 months.
So John... Wait, what was the gap between John and Robert getting killed?
So, John Fitzgerald Kennedy died in 1963, and Bobby Kennedy died in 1968.
Damn. I remember, isn't that kind of like a superstitious thing that all the Kennedys always get killed off?
Yeah, they kind of have bad luck when it comes to dying young. Like, it kind of runs in their family a little bit. Because, I think it was John Kennedy's son died in like a plane accident.
Damn.
Yeah, he was really famous. And then I remember this. It's one of those situations where he mixed up what was the horizon, and he ended up going down instead of leveling out because he didn't know where the horizon was.
Too many good Catholics dying, Phil.
Yep.
So what was the Kennedy... The really old politician Kennedy, maybe he died when you were still living here with me. I can't remember what his name is. He passed.
You're talking about Ted Kennedy.
Is it Ted Kennedy? Yeah, I'll never forget when he died. You turned on Fox News and they're talking about how he's the greatest man that ever lived. Yada yada yada. After the day beforehand, talking complete shit about him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, oh, now he's dead. Now we gotta say how nice he is and everything. After they just were blasting him probably for the last how many years.
They dirty dogged that motherfucker for decades. Exactly. And then the day that he died, there was all, warm heart prayer, heartfelt shit, coming out.
I love the media, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Always looking for that fucking quick buck selling them Hondas. So... At the time, Robert Kennedy was running for president of the United States, which famously was not going to be sought by the incumbent president, Lyndon Baines Johnson. This election would eventually be won by the man that Bobby's brother had beaten in 1960, former Vice President Richard Milhouse Nixon. Do you remember him? Anything about him?
Yeah, Nixon, he has quite a reputation. Damn, I feel like I should have known his middle name was Milhouse. Underutilized
of
name.
Simpsons fame.
Yeah, underutilized name. You know what I was just thinking when you said John Fitzgerald Kennedy? I was thinking of Fitzgerald. That's an underutilized name. Then I was thinking about this past weekend how Larry Fitzgerald of Arizona Cardinals fame, somehow as an old man, he just was tearing it up.
I like how we call him an old man, even though he's probably only a few months older than us.
That's a good point. How old is he? He's
in his mid-30s.
Okay, well, for a football life, he's an old man.
Oh, in football years, he's 85. He's the old guy at the office who hasn't left his desk in fucking 13 years. You swear to God he sleeps there.
Can you imagine you're at your job and you're considered the old guy on the staff?
Dude, just go work at Google. Immediately, you'll be the old guy there.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. So on June 5th, 1968, just after midnight, the Kennedy campaign was celebrating after winning the California primary and had just given a speech to the crowd of supporters and staffers at the Ambassador Hotel. Now, after the speech, he exited through the pantry on his way to a waiting press conference. Paul Sherrod, former regional director of the United Auto Workers, had helped Kennedy garner support from the unions and was on stage with him for his speech, getting thanks. He was leading Bobby through the pantry at the time and claims that Kennedy was shaking hands with the kitchen staffers before he and Bobby would be shot. Senator Kennedy was only 42 years old, and his wife was pregnant with his 11th child. 11
kids at age 42.
Yes, as I said, famously Catholic.
That's like super Catholic, dude.
Yeah. So my mom is actually one of, I think, 9 children. And Bobby is one of 9 children also. And
Jesus.
To our fans, she is famously Catholic also, because I talk about it all the time. But yeah, they have a lot of kids. So
God
especially
damn.
Then.
I was going to say, well, you have a pretty big family. What is it, 6 of you and your brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
So, that's a good-sized family. I guess I'm on the small end of a quote-unquote Catholic family, although I don't even think we're Catholic anymore, and none of us are.
Yeah, that's how our family kind of rolls, too. So
I was going to say, maybe it's because my damn Lutheran father invaded the Catholic family and corrupted it.
Yeah, narrowing the numbers down. The Pope's gonna be pissed not getting his numbers from Iowa.
Thankfully, not a lot of people do that anymore.
Yeah, don't give him nothing.
No.
When the basket comes around, fucking take $5 and spit in it. So just like his brother's assassination, Robert Kennedy's murder has been linked to many conspiracies in the 50+ years since. So the suspect in the murder was apprehended immediately. You mentioned him before. A 24-year-old Palestinian Jordanian Christian named Sirhan Sirhan.
Is that his legal... Hold on. Is that his legal name?
Yes, that is his legal name. He has a double name.
Wow, okay.
Famously a double name.
I wanted to ask you, too. So, Robert was killed and his bodyguard was killed?
That wasn't his bodyguard. That was just one of his, he was a United Auto Workers, like one of the union guys who was helping him garner union support.
Okay, but
he wasn't a bodyguard for him. No.
Okay, but he was killed too, right?
No, he actually lived.
Oh, he lived
for many years.
Okay.
And was kind of a big proponent of the conspiracies, so.
Well, I think I'm going to save it for later once you start going through the conspiracies, but I already have one thing of suspicion that I'll see if you bring it up.
Okay. So after firing his 8-round Ivor Johnson 22 revolver, Sirhan's hand was grabbed by Carl Euchre, a hotel maitre d', who testified that after 2 shots, he had pinned Sirhan's hand down and claimed that Sirhan continued to fire shots wildly after he was grabbed. A waiter and a campaign aide also claimed to have jumped on Sirhan after 2 or 3 shots.
He was taken out by the goddamn host?
You have to understand, if you've ever seen pictures of this is a tight space. I mean, literally people were already on top of him by the time he started firing.
Yeah, but
this was not an open area.
But the maitre d', like, I wouldn't ever expect a maitre d' to attack anybody.
Oh, no. Yeah, not someone making below minimum wage. You'd expect him to get the fuck out of there.
I know. I guess this guy was a badass. Took him out.
That's like the gas station attendant who just automatically hands over money. Just like, dude, $7 an hour. Here you go.
Look,
take it.
I'm serving these.
You want a pack of smokes too?
He's like, look, I'm just serving these rich guys. I don't even know them. All right.
So this is where the conspiracies begin, because during the trial, the prosecution shared the autopsy with the defense lawyer of Sirhan Sirhan, and the report from coroner Thomas Noguchi, I'm probably murdering that guy's name, claimed that he had found powder burns on Kennedy's jacket and in his hair. And this suggested that the shooter was firing from close range. The problem is, the maitre d' who first tackled Sirhan testified that the shooter had never gotten close to Kennedy. And this was corroborated by several other witnesses and could not have been close enough to put the .22 against the victim's back and fire. As was claimed in the coroner's report. Okay,
so you said Sirhan only got 2 shots off before he was taken down?
Before he was, before anyone who was trying to take him down touched him. So he got 2 shots off and then he was grabbed.
Damn, 2 shots with a .22 and he killed one guy and injured the other. That, I don't know. That seems a little.
I'm gonna go into it a little bit more.
Okay. Okay.
So he ended up firing all of his rounds.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I'm gonna go in that a little bit more in just a minute.
Okay.
So this fact and other evidence has led many through the years to believe that there could have been a second gunman besides Sirhan Sirhan. So other evidence to the second gunman theory was the amount of bullets that were fired that night in the pantry. So as I mentioned before, Sirhan's .22 had only 8 bullets, all of which were fired. And Sirhan would not have been able to reload due to being tackled by multiple people in that very tight space.
Right.
Now 3 bullets hit Kennedy with another going through his jacket. This is kind of where some math comes in. 2 stayed in his body and 1 exited out of his armpit. So of the 4 shots that went to Kennedy, 3 actually hit him. 2 stayed in his body, 1 went through his armpit. The 5 other bullets struck 5 other victims. Remember, I said that he was shooting wildly after his arm was grabbed, right?
Yep.
So the 5 other victims who were shot, the bullets stayed in their bodies. Now, 3 bullet holes were found in the ceiling, with the theory that one of the bullets actually ricocheted off the metal above the ceiling tiles and went into one of the 5 victims. So it's kind of, there's such a tight space. Everyone was a bullet sponge. Everyone just caught one. So the flaw, what's that?
I just say, but the math is off though.
Yeah, that's kind of the flaw in it. So the flaw is really, there's one that went through his coat and one that exited out his armpit. And those were supposed to go up into the ceiling. And then the third bullet that went into the ceiling came down and ricocheted and went into a person. So that explains the 3 bullet holes in the ceiling.
Okay. Okay. Well, what the hell was the ceiling made out of that it could ricochet off of there, I wonder?
Well, there's, ceiling tiles.
Yeah.
And then there's metal above the ceiling.
Yeah. Okay.
So it went through and then back down. Did I say that there was 3 bullets that went in the ceiling? 2 bullets that went in the ceiling, one of them ricocheted back into a person. That's why the math is kind of hard. Because you have to keep remembering 8 bullets where they all went to in the theory.
Okay.
So the flaw is that there were 2 bullet holes found in the door frame to the pantry, which the LAPD never claimed existed, even though there is photo evidence of the police examining the door frame and measuring the holes. And witness who saw the police examining the bullet holes also claimed that they removed bullets. Now, the ceiling panels and the door frame were removed by the LAPD and later incinerated, which is odd.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, yeah. So would anything lead you to believe that maybe the chef was wasted and just started shooting his gun in the pantry door at one point? Like prior to the assassination? It
could have been. What is that angry British chef who always
Gordon Ramsay.
What was Gordon Ramsay doing in 1968?
When he was
Could
like,
he?
what if he was just like an apprentice there and he just plastered and he just got mad at a red onion and started shooting the pantry door? That'd be amazing.
The sous chef burned the goddamn sauce and just starts firing wildly. Sirhan steps in to protect the president and he gets tackled.
I'll take it for you, Gordon. I know you're going to make it one day.
Yeah. So the next little bit of evidence for the second gunman theory is some audio. Now, the acoustics of a microphone that picked up the gunshots in 2007 was examined. Now, this microphone, they claim, was being moved from the ballroom area where the speech was given to the press conference area, and it was a live mic situation.
Okay, so it was recording while they were moving it.
In 2007, the audio was examined, as I previously mentioned, and found to have a total of 13 shots fired, according to forensic expert Philip von Prague.
Okay, so that is definitely suspicious. Now, I'm assuming since he's a quote-unquote forensic specialist that he couldn't mistake, like, a fucking frying pan smashing on something for a gunshot or something like that.
This like audio examination that they used, it was some kind of program that's specially designed to figure out like gunshots as opposed to something that sounds like gunshots.
Okay, I gotcha.
So according to them, this would only pick up like a gunshot. So the 13 shots that they claim couldn't have been anything else.
That's interesting. So where is the other, what is it, 6 other shots, right? Where are the other 6 shots, or 5 other shots coming from?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, so there was 8 original. They also claim that there was a ricochet, so that's 9. Then there was 2 more that ended up in the door frame, which is 11. So that would mean that there was 2 more bullets somewhere. So, but there is, let's just say that some people don't think that this audio examination was actually done correctly or not really done in good faith. So I'll continue. Van Prague also said that the recording revealed at least 2 instances in which the time between shots was shorter than humanly possible to fire, and that different residences indicated that there was more than one gun.
So they were like firing at the exact same time, or very close to it.
Very close together, like faster than you could fire a pistol. So it's almost as if there was 2 separate guns in the room being fired.
Well, what I was thinking is like, okay, the audio quality of this recording has to be like worse than like how our fucking recordings sound. You know what I mean? Like it has to sound just absolutely god awful. You know what I mean?
And in a tight space like that, I was also thinking about this. Imagine the echo.
Ugh.
I mean, I couldn't imagine how much, like, especially with 8 shots being fired wildly, like, you would be hearing like shots coming from all over the place with all the echoing.
Okay,
so.
Did this audio get looked at by like, say, I don't know, the History Channel or like Discovery Channel or like something like that, where they're just like, hey, just add in a few more shots. We need to spice this up a little bit.
It could very well have been. I'm not exactly sure about that. So.
I don't trust the History Channel anymore. You can't trust them.
That is true. Them and CNN. Fake news.
Yep.
Everybody listen to fucking Crowder. That asshole. So the ballistics of the bullets were also examined. It's part of the conspiracy. Initially by Duane Wolfer. That's an awesome, strong name. The lead crime scene investigator at the time.
Does he, did you look if he like just gets on all fours and starts smelling around the crime scene for clues?
That would be amazing. No, I didn't even think about that.
Get me Wolfer.
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Get in here, Wolfer.
Quit howling. Quit howling at the moon and get in here.
So he found that the 3 bullets that he had examined were all fired by the same 22 that Sirhan had brought into the pantry. However, later examinations of the bullets proved that they were in fact not fired out of the same gun. After a panel of 7 experts analyzed the bullets and even test fired Sirhan's 22. An internal police document, which was later released, concluded that Kennedy and Weissel bullets not fired from the same gun, and, quote, Kennedy bullet not fired from Sirhan's revolver. So some of these bullets that were analyzed were taken out of Kennedy. And one of them that was taken out of Kennedy's body, they claim, was not fired from Sirhan's revolver.
Well, yeah, they would. I mean, every single gun has a unique bore pattern, right? That's how they tell the difference, right?
The fingerprint. Yep.
Yeah. So, that's really weird. Well, I was thinking about this too. Like, obviously, a 22 bullet is very tiny. You know what I mean? And for that bullet to kill him, did he die like almost instantly after he was shot?
No. I was going to mention this a little later, but I'll just kind of say it now. He was shot shortly after midnight, June 5th. It took him an entire day to die. After they took the surgery to take the bullet out of his brain and like other little fragments, he died a whole day later.
Oh, wait, so he was shot in the head too?
So he was shot most like in the back. One of the bullets went up through his back into his neck.
Ooh.
One of them went out of his armpit. And then, yeah, so like the killer was the one that went into his brain though. That's the killer bullet, the one that killed him.
Okay, that makes sense then, because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, well, he would have to shoot him almost right through the heart to kill him with a bullet that size, or like puncture one of his arteries or whatever.
Yeah, it went into his brain and killed him slow. That was how Lincoln died too. Was that I think it was like hours and hours later that Lincoln died. He suffered for a long time.
Well, when Lincoln got killed, wouldn't have that been like a musket bullet?
I do know that they had cartridges at the time.
Okay.
But
okay.
I think he was killed by like one of those pistol like with the
huge fucking
the
ball. Yeah. Dude, so I don't know if your dad did, but my dad likes to hunt with musket loaders. And when you see a deer get hit by that little ball, it's just like shrapnel all around that little area where it gets hit. So I couldn't imagine if that was like directly in the back of your head getting shot with that.
Air pressure just turns it into a fucking shotgun blast.
Yeah,
eventually. Yeah.
Well, like, I think when you get shot, you shoot a deer with that, if you're not careful, I think you have to, like, completely cut out that entire piece of meat. Otherwise, you'll get, like, little shrapnel pieces in there.
Just like Back to the Future 3, when they're eating the rabbit, and he's spitting out little pieces of fucking, like, pellet.
Yep. Yeah.
From the little squirrels. It's a great movie. So, Sirhan's defense attorneys later on filed a 62-page brief to federal court as an appeal that claimed that the bullet that was taken from Kennedy's brain had been switched out with a bullet that had been fired out of Sirhan's 22, and that this bullet was used as the evidence that convicted Sirhan of the murder of Senator Kennedy.
Well, that would be pretty hard to prove, I feel like.
Yeah, it would be, I mean, so many years later. But it was basically coming from the report that the bombshell Kennedy bullet not fired from Sirhan's revolver. So,
well, I mean, there is one thing that I could say for certain. I'm pretty sure the LAPD at this time is very corrupt.
Oh yeah. And you got to think too, a president candidate just died on their watch. Not only a presidential candidate, a fucking Kennedy. So they had the guy, case closed. We got him. Fucking. Supposedly the trial didn't even seem like I kind of skipped over it a little bit. So the trial of Sirhan didn't even seem like it was a trial to see if he was guilty or innocent. It was more of just a sentencing. He was already convicted pre-trial.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
Interesting.
So basically, Sirhan was convicted of first-degree murder of Senator Kennedy. He was also There was also many other people shot in there. Basically, he got the death penalty. The only problem is California did away with the death penalty, so he's serving life in prison. Currently serving life in prison in California as we speak.
He's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
So how old was he when he shot him, or allegedly shot him?
He was 24 in 1968.
So he's probably in San Quentin then.
Yeah, I actually think he just got returned, San Quentin. He supposedly I think he got stabbed. I was reading in a news article. But yeah, he was returned. He's been up for parole quite a few times, and he's obviously not going to get paroled. There's no way.
No,
they're
absolutely
not. Gonna let him go.
No. Joe Biden would probably kill him if he got out.
I think Joe Biden's a little slow. I don't think
he would just hug him to death. That's Joe's death movie. He just keeps hugging you. He hugs the life out of everybody.
Just a friendly molestation until he passes out and dies. Until he finally dies of old age.
Someone told me like he has cancer or something right now. Like he has some terminal disease, and I'm like, I don't think that's true. Have you heard that?
He was just standing giving a speech, and one of his blood vessels in his eyes blew out. Did you see that? His eye turned all red. Yeah, there's something wrong with him. He don't look right. I would have voted 6 months ago. I would have voted for him if I had never seen him speak again. But honestly, you watch him speak, he looks tired. He looks old, slow. Like his numbers are gonna fucking plummet once people start seeing him speak.
You can't be blowing blood vessels while you're giving a speech. That's a giant red flag.
No, you can't fucking look like you're about to take a nap, every 10 seconds.
He's just sad because he's looking for somebody to hug, Phil.
Yeah, that's true. So a little bit, I know, like Sirhan obviously fired some bullet, like all of the bullets out of his gun. The question is whether or not any of his bullets actually hit Kennedy. Now, about Sirhan, there's no conspiracy as I just mentioned, but he could possibly be a Manchurian candidate. Do you know what a Manchurian candidate is?
I do.
So, do you want to explain it?
No, you explain it.
So there is a theory that Sirhan may have been manipulated into being a brainwashed assassin through either drugs or hypnosis.
I've heard rumors that they connect him with MK Ultra.
Yeah, so there's a ton of anytime any Manchurian candidate kind of deal comes in, he gets put on there. Oswald also kind of gets put on there too.
Yeah.
So he claims that he has no recollection of like the incident happening. He does believe that he was there. So he knows he was there. He doesn't think he's a patsy, but he believes that he has no memory of it and he doesn't know what happened. So a lot of people think that he may have been forced to be a gunman in the room, and then someone else walked up behind Kennedy and blasted him while Sirhan was going nuts with a revolver,
Well, I feel like if there was another gunman, he would have to be hiding somewhere, then shoot him while Sirhan was shooting at the same time, right? Like he couldn't be visible, I wouldn't think.
Well, yeah. I mean, hiding in plain sight is one of the things. Like someone who's just kind of like skulking around the pantry, blasts Kennedy, and then walks out as everyone's going crazy.
I could see
bullets are flying in the air.
Oh, I got an even better theory. What if Gordon Ramsay was hiding in the pantry closet, firing the shots, and it killed him?
Could have been. It absolutely could have been Gordon Ramsay. Somebody's going to have to look into Gordon Ramsay.
I know. We need to watch out for him. I bet, he was teaching Robert Kennedy how to do some cooking. He overcooked the pasta. It wasn't al dente. Gordon got mad and shot him.
Now, the reason, obviously, for someone wanting to Kennedy and putting a Manchurian candidate up for this is it's really easy to not get an investigation happening into this once they already have someone. So Sirhan starts firing wildly. Everybody grabs him. It's done. We got him. This guy. We take him to jail. It's it. Just like Oswald. Don't look at anybody else. We got him. Go to sleep, everybody. Keep buying fucking Toyota Corollas. Everything's good.
So, are you going to go into at all, a suspected reason why, if we believe that Sirhan actually killed him, what motive he would have had to kill him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's in all of my conspiracies coming up.
Okay. We'll wait for that.
It's all coming up. So now I'm going to get into the possible second gunman conspiracy theories.
Okay.
So a campaign worker named Sandra Serrano claims to have seen two men, one of which she later identified as Sirhan, and a woman wearing a polka dot dress walking up the stairs of the Ambassador Hotel ballroom at 11:30 at night. Have you ever heard of the polka dot lady?
I have not. This is very interesting. When I thought of an additional assassin, a lady didn't even come to my mind.
Yeah, she claims to have heard also what sounded like a car backfiring, and then witnessed one of the men and the woman in the polka dot dress running down the stairs. Apparently, the woman in the polka dot dress was saying to the man, "We shot him. We shot him." When Serrano asked the woman who she was referring to, the woman apparently said, "Senator Kennedy."
Interesting.
Yep.
I almost thought you were going to throw a red herring in there and be like, because her last name's very close to Barry Soetoro. So
No,
I thought
that's the end. That's the end.
okay. I was gonna say, is this lady in a polka dot dress is just Barack Obama with a wig on? It's a Miss Doubtfire situation here.
Yeah, exactly. We cracked it. We got him.
Anyway, so what was the witness that said this again?
This was Sandra Serrano, and she was a campaign worker for Senator Kennedy. So a woman in a polka dot dress was seen by many witnesses that night, besides Sandra Serrano. Witnesses claim to see her and Sirhan in the kitchen together before the shooting. And retired LAPD in 1974 claims that when he was responding to the shooting, an elderly couple claimed to see a young couple smiling and saying out loud that they had shot him repeatedly, just like Sandra Serrano had heard them say before.
Okay. Wow, that's really suspicious. So now you have two witnesses claiming that they saw her, and other people who have actually physically seen her within the area.
Yeah, in the ballroom and the kitchen area. So they were seen. The polka dot lady kind of became like a famous conspiracy. That's why I mentioned it at first, because this is the most famous second gunman theory, the polka dot lady.
Okay, so do you think, I don't know if you're going to talk about this later, that she had some connection to Sirhan, or like they just so happened to be in the same place at the same time? Or maybe she knew he was going to try to assassinate him and then she did it with him. You know what I mean?
Well, the three of them were walking up into the ballroom area together. And she claims the third guy, so there was two guys and her. She claims that the guy that she walked up with was Sirhan. And that she claims that she didn't see Sirhan, obviously, when she was walking back down.
Okay.
The polka dot lady.
Okay, interesting.
So apparently the three of them walked in the ballroom together, and then two of them came down the stairway, and Sirhan obviously was being tackled and probably beaten down in the pantry while firing wildly.
So I could see, okay, now if we put into the theory that maybe all three of them were working together to assassinate him, or whatever, but I feel like he would have squealed on them by now. You know what I mean?
Well, if he was a Manchurian candidate, though, he wouldn't know anything about them, because he says he doesn't remember anything from that shooting. Well,
I know you're not as deep into true crime as I am, but that is kind of a thing that happens. Let's say somebody has like a crime of passion or like something like that. When they're shooting someone or whatever, their mind will erase that memory from their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've heard of that before.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I feel like he would have remembered setting it up beforehand.
Yeah, this one kind of goes along a little bit candidate. Like, he could have possibly been drugged or hypnotized. Something like that.
So polka dot lady
that's the thing, we don't know where the polka dot lady, like where she came from. All we know is like some witnesses saw her there. So she could have been an MK Ultra agent for all we know. You know, like...
Well, she could have loaded him up on whatever drugs they use and sent him in there and then just kind of made sure he did what he was supposed to do.
Yep, exactly. Feeding him little hypnotic shit all night until he did it. So that's all speculation, of course. We're just talking out of our ass.
I was thinking, what if they had like a catch, like they say a certain word and it triggers them into like the assassination mode? And what if it was like one of Gordon Ramsay's catchphrases? She said that. Yeah, she said that, and then all of a sudden he snaps and tries to shoot him. She
whispers into his ear, "Spaghetti salad," and then he just starts firing wildly. Gordon Ramsay starts firing wildly. It just goes crazy in there.
That's good.
What's that?
Oh, I'm gonna tell a really quick story. So, back when I was working as a detailer, sometimes when it was slow, we'd have to help deliver cars or whatever, right? And there's always this one old guy who would kind of like taxi everybody around, and he didn't listen when anybody was talking to him. So we'd like say his name, be like, "Hey, can we stop and get some spaghetti baskets?" And he just like start talking about his fishing trip and like everything else. Like people would ask him over and over if we can stop and get a spaghetti basket.
Like, is that his trigger word?
Apparently. Like, I don't know why it was so funny to ask him for a spaghetti basket, but he didn't listen to anything. He just kept talking about something else.
Yeah, when you're dead in the middle of the fucking grind of working, there's a lot of weird shit that's funny.
That's true. That's a good point.
So Sandra Serrano later told the LAPD that she had fabricated the story, but later on claimed that she was forced into the denial after many interviews and questions by the LAPD.
So they strong-armed her.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that. And that goes along a lot with JFK witnesses, too. A lot of them claimed that they were basically, interviewed, ad nauseum and then basically told what to say, just so that they would be allowed to leave.
So what would the LAPD... Do you think the LAPD had something against Robert Kennedy himself, or they just wanted to sweep the assassination under the rug to like preserve the city's reputation?
I think it was a case closed situation.
They didn't want to deal with it.
It's my own, I'm posing this, but I believe really the LAPD just wanted this open shut. It was Sirhan. He did it. Crazy guy. Got him. We got him. Don't worry about it.
Well, for the amount of serial killers that were roaming around Los Angeles right around this time period, that kind of went unnoticed, I wouldn't really doubt that they didn't really want to investigate anything too deeply.
Yeah, they were happy to finally get one, probably.
Probably.
They didn't used to catch serial killers at all.
No. There's a lot of them in LA in like the 60s and 70s, so...
There's a lot of true crime podcasts actually fucking solving these cases that never got solved, so... I'm going to mention this. There was resonance tests done to decide what actually she would have been able to hear from outside the stairwell. Like I said before, she actually heard the shots being fired, and she said they sounded like a car backfiring. Now there was a 0.5 decibel difference from what she claims and what they actually tested. So they said that she shouldn't have been able to hear anything. Not really sure why, because there's a little decibel difference, she wouldn't be able to hear anything. I'm also wondering if they fired bullets or fired a gun inside of a building, they probably used blanks, which is a decibel difference. So, it seems a little weird.
Are you sure blanks are quieter than regular bullets?
I'm pretty sure blanks are quieter than regular bullets. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not an expert, but I know that there isn't any it's not pushing anything out when it how does that work? I know that when they use a blank, they don't use as much powder. It's just kind of capped at the end. There's not really anything coming out of the round. Or out of the muzzle. So
you don't think these guys who are setting up the test would have just made an intern stand where Bobby Kennedy was, get shot 5 times or whatever, just to make sure their audio is right? You don't think they would like make anybody do that?
Maybe they brought in a like sick dog. Just
I could see him be like, Frankie, if you want to work for this institute, you will stand over there and let us shoot you to see the sound differences, okay? This is very important.
You'll take a 22 round in the ass. It's all right.
All medical bills will be covered, Frankie. Do not even worry about it. It'll
You'll
just
be brought
sting a
to
little
the
bit.
best HMO.
Yes. And if you get addicted to painkillers afterwards, we'll help you with that too. We'll help you get street heroin after that.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically what they're saying is, from where she was standing, it couldn't be heard. It's kind of a mess. But the polka dot lady is one of the most famous, like, second gunman theories. That's kind of why I brought it up first. I'm going to go into some other ones now. There was a mafia connection, which we talk about the mafia quite a bit on this show.
This was the one that I was talking about earlier that I thought this sounded the most likely because I think during this time the mob was super tied in with the unions right around this time.
Yeah, I'm actually going to mention that a little bit.
Okay.
So going back into Bobby Kennedy's history a little bit, he was considered actually the runt of the family. He was a real soft-spoken kid. His father, Joseph Sr., didn't really respect him very much. So he kind of had to develop this tough guy persona throughout his life. He was a lot smaller than his brothers were. So he played varsity football in college, even though he was about 5'10" and $150. And his teammates said that he played really hard and fearless. And there's like stories of him like breaking a leg and like wanting to play still and just like he was a famously like had this tough guy persona.
Hey, it sounded like he's the perfect frame for like a Julian Edelman like player, you know, because he's a small guy and he's like insanely good. Maybe Bobby Kennedy was kind of like he was that slot receiver. Do you know what position he played?
He played on the end. That's all it said. He played the end, and I think he played offense and defense. So he played both ways.
So he's probably a nose tackle and probably a center.
Yeah, I'm guessing he... I don't think he's a center. I said he played on the end.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
Yeah, okay. So this tough guy persona would later help him on in dealing with powerful men, including J. Edgar Hoover, Lyndon Baines Johnson, the Russians in general, and Jimmy Hoffa, which you just mentioned, the mob and unions.
Is it?
So while what's that?
No, never mind. Continue.
Okay. While Secretary of State, JFK turned Hoover away from communism and towards organized crime, going after Teamster President Jimmy Hoffa famously, and would be involved in what became known as a blood feud with Hoffa for Hoffa's corruption in financial sectors, matters of the election, both personally and organizationally. Robert Kennedy went after him.
Okay. Hoffa didn't die that much longer after Kennedy, I think, right?
No, so he was convicted of, after Robert Kennedy was Secretary of State, Jimmy Hoffa in 1964 was convicted of jury tampering. So
okay.
He actually was, and Robert Kennedy actually called the prosecutors and congratulated them for taking down Jimmy Hoffa on something.
Hell yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny because when I was in college, during speech class, I think I actually covered the story of Jimmy Hoffa or whatever. I'm pretty sure they speculate, was he buried underneath the Jets stadium?
It was home plate at the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
I believe. Or the Yankee Stadium. Old Yankee Stadium.
Was it one of them? Okay. All right.
I know it's the baseball field, but they claim that so much shit was buried under Yankees home plate. It's stupid. I wonder when they tore the stadium down if they actually...
I don't think they would tell anybody how many dead bodies were under there.
It's like a fucking Native American burial ground. It's just
it's haunted
they're
as
haunting
fuck.
the place. All you can smell is fucking cigar smoke and fucking gin at night. So the mafia may have put JFK into office and after Bobby went after organized crime, they actually are alleged to have had something to do with the JFK killing, putting Jack Ruby up to killing Oswald, and possibly even killing Bobby Kennedy.
So do you think, I think I've heard this before, that they actually wanted Bobby Kennedy dead, but they threatened him by killing his brother, right?
Yeah, so there's a real long history, supposedly, of their father being tied in with the mob, and even the mafia getting JFK put into office back in 1960. The only problem is Bobby, Secretary of State, just went after organized crime like a crazy person, and that was not in the program.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so.
So my next conspiracy actually involves the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. Now, a lot of people believe that the CIA may have had something to do with President Kennedy's assassination in 1963. Robert Kennedy supposedly could have investigated JFK's assassination in further in depth than had already happened. Obviously, they had pinned it all on Oswald.
Right.
So there were allegations that 3 men were at the Ambassador Hotel. These allegations came from Shane O'Sullivan's documentary, RFK Must Die.
Okay.
Yeah, and it must be a landmark. Never really heard of it, but... So he provided video and photo evidence. He claimed that the 3 men seen in the video and in the photographs at the Ambassador Hotel immediately before and after the assassinations were positively identified as CIA operatives David Sanchez Morales, Gordon Campbell, and George Joannitis.
I almost thought you were going to say George H. Bush.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush.
Yeah. Okay, so did you look at these pictures?
Not really. No, I've been looking at a ton of pictures throughout my studying. So supposedly O'Sullivan's conspiracy documentary actually kind of falls apart. One of the men identified actually died of a heart attack in 1962. That was Morales. O'Sullivan claims that the man used Morales's identity as a cover, kind of to, help tie his story together. So also the other 2 men, Gordon Campbell and George Joannitis, I fucked his name up again, but George Joannitis, they were found out to be Belova Watch Company workers, and they supposedly were there for a convention that's happening at the hotel.
So are you trying to tell me that watch, whatever that you want to call them, barons, wouldn't be killing political figures?
Yeah, so how he explains this one away, O'Sullivan says that the Belova Watch Company was a notorious CIA fraud.
Oh, okay. So we need to start watching out for like Fossil and Casio.
Oh, definitely.
I'm never buying another Casio watch again.
If a watch salesman comes to your door, they found you out. Just fucking slam the door shut.
Put on a fucking bulletproof everything. They're there to kill you.
Throw one of those furious cats at them.
Oh, speaking of that, OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. was wearing a watch during the game. Do you think he could have been perhaps a CIA operative by chance?
He could be tied into it. The CIA might be giving him some of that watch swag. $180,000 watch.
Damn. Okay.
What do you even make it out of to make it cost that much?
Well, I guarantee
unobtainium?
I think around the face of the watch, I think they put diamonds.
Yeah,
why would you wear that while you're playing football? It's going to get fucked up.
Yeah, well, it's to prove he's got money.
Yeah, I suppose.
So my next conspiracy is kind of a little one, not very much goes into it. I do like this one personally. So the military industrial complex, you know what that is, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So Kennedy claimed that if he became president, he was going to end the Vietnam War, which was pretty popular sentiment at the time. And now the military industrial complex did not want that to happen. They were making a ton of money off the Vietnam War. And they could have possibly assassinated Kennedy just to keep the war going.
Okay. So
putting Nixon in office, which extended the war.
So
even though he claimed to also want to take it out.
So around 68, Dick Cheney would have been probably in his early 50s. So
A little older, but yeah.
Could this have been his I could see Cheney killing him because he didn't want Halliburton to be taken down.
Yeah, if Robert Kennedy had been shot in the face with birdshot, then I might think it might be him.
If there's pieces of camel or of camo and flannel laying all over the ground, then we know Dick Cheney was there.
Yeah, definitely.
I could just see Dick Cheney playing Duck Hunt for Super Nintendo, and he keeps wondering why he can't kill the dog.
He just saves all of his bullets for the dog. That was, yeah. I don't understand why everyone always killed the dog. They should have actually updated that game, but
Dick Cheney
instead
Hunter.
of having Dick Cheney Hunter,
There's just like birds flying everywhere, but you can just keep shooting your friend in the back. You can't actually shoot the birds.
The birds fly everywhere, but you have to save your bullets for the fucking buddies coming around. So I only have a few. I'm just going to fire right through them.
Right.
As I mentioned before, Sirhan was Palestinian. Now, the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, Robert Kennedy supported Israel during the Six-Day War, which had just happened. And he also had taken a trip in his college days to Palestine, what Israel was previously called. And he kind of like had a little journalist gig going on. He wrote some papers in support of like the Jewish people living in Palestine and how he thought that the Palestinians and Israelis would be able to coexist someday. It was obvious that Senator Kennedy, as president, would not be impartial in the Israeli-Palestine relation. And there's a kind of a conspiracy going on that the PLO might have put Sirhan up to killing the president, even giving him aid and possibly a second gunman.
Okay. I kind of like that one, actually. You're like, oh, they could coexist eventually. I'm like, ooh, they still aren't coexisting.
Yeah, this was back in the mid-40s. It was still while the British were in charge of Palestine.
But I'm saying even in current days, they don't. Definitely not getting along.
Oh, no, it goes up and down, but we're in a down. Yeah, we're in a valley right now, a trench. So the next one, Aristotle. Now, he's got a very famous last name. After JFK's death, Robert F. Kennedy was the head of the family, with his older brothers dead and his father not patriarch anymore, and supposedly wouldn't let Jackie marry Aristotle Onassis. Jackie is JFK's former wife. Okay. And the conspiracy goes that Onassis had previously paid the PLO not to hijack his planes. He was actually in charge of Olympic Airlines, which is currently known as Greek Airlines. But there's a conspiracy that actually paying for the airlines not to get bombed or hijacked was actually paying for Bobby's assassination, kind of as a cover. Like, he claimed that the money was going to not hijack the planes, but actually this was funding Bobby's assassination.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, that would be a good way to hide it.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to clean up your... If you admitted, oh no, this is just bribe money to not get hijacked anymore for my airlines.
How many planes...
Hijacking was huge at the time, too.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Okay. That'd be terrifying.
Yeah, there's very famous, there's a super famous video of a plane that was hijacked, just taking off and landing in different spots, getting refueled, and yeah.
Yikes.
It was a scary time. As I mentioned, turbulent times. So... of course, I have to mention this. It was goddamn Richard Nixon.
Okay. Well, he's tricky Dick, you know.
Yeah. So Robert Kennedy, really a lot of people think that he was going to beat Nixon. They thought it was going to be Bobby Kennedy versus Richard Nixon, and Bobby was going to whoop Nixon for the same reasons JFK beat him. He's a likable person. And he was probably also worried that Bobby Kennedy was going to cheat, just like JFK cheated, allegedly. That was one of the big conspiracies about the 1960 election was Illinois and mob ties. A lot of supposed dead people voted in Illinois.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to... Isn't that what Watergate was? Was Nixon cheating?
Yeah, Nixon was basically Nixon was spying on the Democrats, making sure like they weren't like, I guess part of it a little bit was like he was making sure they weren't up to shit. But yeah, he was definitely cheating, like seeing what they were up to, like which you shouldn't be doing. But
it's like the people who always want to blame somebody else for cheating and then they get cheating. It's like, well, come on, guy.
Yeah, you got to understand too, Nixon losing to Kennedy, like it was such a close election. And when it came out that all these like supposed dead people had voted, he basically said like, this is never happening again. I'm never getting fucked over like this. Like, I doubt he said fucked over because I think he was like a Quaker or Shaker or something like that. But he's never getting fucked over. Like
that upper lip was sweating like a motherfucker.
Oh, I was about to say that too. Fucking Robert Kennedy would have went on that debate stage, fucking that good looking fucking face, those teeth, those eyes. You'd have seen Nixon just sweating like a dog.
God, he is an ugly individual.
Yeah,
Nixon,
I feel so bad for him as a fellow ugly person. Just, oh God. But he became president, and he's an asshole.
True.
So my last one, of course, goddamn Obama. Now, 6-year-old Muslim assassin in training, Barry Soetoro, obviously needs an introduction mission into his future life. So he is sent to Los Angeles to take out the dastardly Robert F. Kennedy for opposing the Palestinians in the 6-Day War, and so on, so on.
So this would make perfect sense because little Obama, would he have been 6 years old at this time?
Yes, he was born in 1962, mentioned before.
Okay.
And it's 1968, so he'd have been, I think, about...
Damn, dude, he could have hidden like any cupboard in that entire area.
He could have hidden in Gordon Ramsay's fucking chef's house. He'd have been so tiny and so well trained by that point.
I was gonna say he probably hid in Gordon Ramsay's Cobb salad or something, a shot out of it. But
he might have grabbed Gordon Ramsay's gun.
Yeah.
I assume he always carries a gun. Angry people usually do.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, okay, now that we got them all together, Phil, which are you leaning on any of these conspiracies, or do you think just Sirhan killed him and there's no other evidence or anything?
I always side with incompetent. So I'm going to say it's pretty highly likely that Sirhan did it alone, and any evidence that might come out to say otherwise is covered up by the LAPD. I do think Sirhan did it alone, but there's a better chance. I'm going to give it like 20% that there was a second gunman at all.
Okay. I was going to
what do you think on that?
Okay, let me ask one question. I don't think you brought it up, but when they busted into Sirhan's apartment, wasn't like his apartment littered with like papers about Robert Kennedy, and like he was super obsessive about him, right?
Yeah, so they did actually take a lot from him. Really famously, there was some notebooks that they took from Sirhan, and they had a bunch of like crazy ramblings in it, things that he had just written down, things about Robert Kennedy. And a lot of it, he claims, was this religion that he had joined that kind of encouraged people just to write down their random thoughts into a notebook. So that's kind of how he tried to explain it away. The prosecution really kind of leveraged heavy on those notebooks though, and just a bunch of stuff they took from his apartment. So yeah, they did. I did forget to mention that before, but when they busted into his place, they did find a lot of stuff.
Okay, well that makes you look awfully guilty when you kill somebody you've been writing obsessively about in a journal or whatever. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I think I'm along the lines with you where he probably killed him. And then, well, yeah, he probably killed him. And then the LAPD didn't want to bother with it. And they kind of quickly swept anything under the rug. Although the polka dot lady is like really compelling. I don't know why, but that's really sticking out to me.
Yeah, I'm going to mention that a little bit in my numbers. So say 100% there was a second gunman. I'm going to give it like 85 to 90% that it had to do with the polka dot lady and the mysterious man that she was with.
Okay.
So I'm going to say if there was 100%, like if you take the pie chart and I took 20%, for Second Gunman. If you expanded that 20%, 90% to 85, I'm going to say Polka Dot Lady. Like, that is the most. Like, there were so many witnesses to the Polka Dot Lady.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. I kind of something is really suspicious about that, especially since obviously the Kennedys had been dying in mysterious ways, and there's a lot of reasons why they'd want to kill them or whatever. Yeah. So, anyway, if you guys want to give us your opinion on Robert Kennedy or what you think happened to him or whatever, where can they do that, Phil?
Well, we have email. You can get a hold of us at subliminaldpodcast@gmail.com. You can also get a hold of us on our Instagram, Subliminal Deception Podcast on IG. That's actually the best way to get a hold. We always are looking at that, so barely ever look at the email. We also have individual ones. My Instagram is SDPodPhil. I barely ever check it. Just go on there to look and see what I eat usually. Cody, you got some?
Yeah, you can follow my personal Instagram, which is Cody Zabub. You can follow my other podcast, Bumblebee Podcast, on Instagram as well. Or just check it out on any podcasting app if you're into true crime or paranormal or any of that shit. So the last thing we need you to do is to log on to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and write us a review if you could. We've kind of slowed down a little bit on the reviews, so, and I know you guys are out there. We can see the downloads. We know you guys are listening, so just log on there, click the fucking button, or whatever other podcasting application you're listening to, just leave a review on there. Anywhere will help us. So, anyway, Phil, final thoughts. I'm going to say you did a fantastic job. I obviously know who Robert Kennedy is, but I didn't know that much about his assassination. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot of information here, so very nicely done. Otherwise, guys, we will see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.